We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Daily Chop. We are your hosts, 438 Currency, Mr. International Steve Bernard, and I am Damian Deshawn. We'll wait for Breezy to tap in, but fellas, what's up with y'all?
What's up with you? What's up with you?
Life is good, man. Let's talk about it, man.
Life is lifing. For sure. Well, guys, before we get into anything, man, it's just been a very interesting day, interesting week. Rumors are circulating about who, what, when, how many. The numbers are out there. We just let our viewers know. We'll get into that subject matter on our Thursday's episode with more. But today we just wanted to hit y'all up because we didn't get with y'all on the weekend to talk about the results of the game against UNC. And where a lot of us are kind of thinking that the boys are finally tapped out. But we'll start with an interesting subject that we all knew about going back in January. And we discussed this in the spaces, on the timeline. We knew the truth. We knew the lies. We know what's going on. It's been spoken by 36 touched on it on his show, I think, last Friday. And but you still see the mainstream beat from Florida State discussing this subject of Keon Coleman basically turning away prospects or telling prospects not to play for Florida State for various reasons. So I figured we bring up this topic because we want to narrow down what's rumors, what's bullshit, and what's the truth. The first thing I'll ask you guys is the first question. Was he really wrong in what he said? Or was it because some things that 3-6 said was some misunderstanding there because 3-6 was there. And he said, I was there. So he basically talked about it. But yet you have our fan base that chooses to listen to the corporate media who have very limited knowledge. They wasn't in the streets with the shit. They just now bringing it up like it's fresh. We have to go all the way back to January. Well, here we are in November. We have to go back to January to even get into this topic. But first question I ask you guys, and y'all can touch on this, was Keon wrong? You go ahead, Steve. You got a little smile, man.
Technically, no. I think the proof is in the pudding. Obviously, the production of the wide receiver position is nothing that's a secret at this point. It leaves a lot to be desired. Keon, we all love him for his personality. He seems like one of these guys is probably going to be brutally honest and let you know how he feels about things. But at the end of the day, you know, my mom and daddy always used to say, never answer a question with a question. You know, I'm going to answer your question with a question. If we're sitting at 9-0 right now, does this story even come out?
That's a good question. I don't think
it's not as much food in the fridge, right?
Y'all exactly. Understand? You're right. I don't think half that shit come out.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. So
yeah, generating clicks. But what you got, 438, man?
Oh man, Keon, well, he wasn't wrong. You get what I'm saying? Like, who have Dugans developed and put him to the league? He just telling the truth. You know, the best thing you can do is help the youth out, and that's all he doing is helping the youth. Don't make the same mistakes he made. Yeah, Keon Coleman undoubtedly should have been a first round draft pick last year. I think he had 500 and something yards. The play scheme, he was really, the play scheme was more a jump ball for him, jump balls for him. It wasn't really no routes. We really didn't get to see Keon's true capability at Florida State, like how we seeing with the Buffalo Bills,
Yeah. My opinion is I think what Keon said was on point. I think that it was Keon just being what we typically see our wide receivers be, period. And that's give me the damn ball. That's really what this came from. It had nothing to do with just spitefulness of Dugans can't do this, Dugans can't do that. I wouldn't come here because of that, because the one of the said recruits, which was already we all know, was Jamie French. We'll mention the name, and 3-6 touched on it. He was there. That's one of the players that he coaches. Let's get this out here. Jamie wasn't coming to Florida State. I mean, let's just be honest here. There was a slight window at one point, but even when we got into the month of January, that was already locked in. Jamie wasn't coming.
Yeah, he committed like in March. He was locked in like in March. Yeah.
Yeah. What Keon did was it was already.
He just reassured him.
Yeah,
he just reassured him on his decision.
He was already not coming. He had already made.
Yeah.
So I mean, if y'all want to know the truth, that's the truth. What you're hearing is blatant lies being used to click by your mainstream, and we'll say them on this show. It's your 247s, your Word Chants, all of these guys. He had to saying it. They're using this story to boost their platform because they are.
That's all.
They're subscription based. We ask you to subscribe, but it doesn't cost you anything. You got to pay.
Yeah, this is free.
You got to pay $9.99 to hear a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, hear a bunch of bullshit. And to be honest about the situation, if you've been tuning into the spaces, if you've been tapped in with my guy Steve, my guy Deshawn, in our spaces, we mentioned this in January.
Yeah.
As soon as the beginning of 2024 just started, 2024 is going to end. So you'd have been filled in on this information. This is nothing new.
This is nothing new. And while a lot of you guys were praising Keon towards the combine, this is what we were discussing. We were discussing
your own beat try to throw one of the best route receivers you had come through the program in years. They try to throw them under the bus because they business slow. But fucking pathetic, man.
It is pathetic. It is. And it's time to address the beat. I'm not going to knock anybody for doing the job. We all want to be involved. We're all getting in this for media. But you got to know who's telling you shit for clicks, and you got to just who want to tell you shit to give information. We don't got nothing to hide. What we do know, we know. Me personally, if I don't know this shit, I'm going to say I don't know it. I don't know what's going on. But if I get good sourced information and what I can share, then I'll share. If it's mum's the word, then it is what it is. Some shit we know we just ain't dropping. Y'all just had to wait and see, you know? So with that, guys, we'll just transition on. We've already told people it's nothing. This ain't nothing but a nothing burger being made up by a beat. Once again, they're doing the same shit they always do. All right. Yesterday was interesting, guys. We can go a little in depth here because we're getting a lot of coach speak. And this has been a debate that has been going on about our head coach and Mike Norvell, even some of the assistants and position coaches. But when interviewed, it's a lot of things that's going out here in the interviews and when they had their press conference yesterday that is baffling. I'm going to read one off to you guys, and I only put about, four up here. I'll read them. We'll break them down. The first one comes from Adam Fuller. He talks about the third downs against UNC. He said a little bit of everything. There was a lot of different reasons for them, basically the third down issues that we continually had. And he's talking about the positioning in which our team was out of place, out of position. Let's just chop it up on Adam Fuller for a minute. We've talked about this a lot, and it kind of leaves me puzzled in I'm trying to get the right way to say it, but basically our DBs, 10 yards off the ball when we're on a short yardage situation, and we get Adam Fuller that says this stuff like he didn't know. For example, he did throw something out that I didn't put up here. He talked about the quarterback for UNC, and it basically he alluded it was like they didn't know, they didn't expect that kind of performance out of him. So it sounds like you weren't prepared. You came in overconfident. I mean, you guys just touch on that because it's been continual. Going back to the Jacksonville State game, even the question that we raised, and now some people, even in the beat, are starting to ask those questions. How much of this was it Randy? Because as soon as Randy took place and took a part in that defensive game plan, the defense started to look a little different. But now, since it looks like Randy checked out, the defense looked like it did back in 2020, 2021. Inconsistent, giving up plays. But what y'all got?
PPP, man. And I ain't talking about the loans, bro. Piss poor preparation. That's what it comes down to, man. At this point, he shows who he's been time and time again. Deshawn, you've been very vocal about how you feel about Fuller. and how he's put Mike Norvell in that offense in bad positions, even going back to the last 2 years when we had tons of success. At the end of the day, I think Fuller relies on the talent that's around him way too much rather than really scheming up some things. We watch college football throughout the country. We're the kind of guys that are going to watch games, whatever's on. You can see teams with half the talent that we have, with very complex game plans that even have them in the game, put them in the position to win a game. So when you're not preparing the right way and you have some guys checked out, possibly some coaches checked out, this is what you get. And I know, Deshawn, you have a little treat for us here in a second about some numbers, some glaring numbers in case some folks didn't watch the game. But numbers never lie. So what do you think about a 4-3-8?
Man, I just think Fuller is what he is. He's a mid coach. He's a G5 coach. This is the least physical Florida State team I have seen on the defensive side of the ball in a long time. The scheme is pathetic. You know, on a third down, it's almost a guarantee for the team to get it with Adam Fuller as your coach. You know, third and Fuller, it should be his permanent name. So when you hire him on a new contract, make sure he incentivized, third and Fuller, he gonna give it up and it's gonna be cool. It's trash. It's terrible, man. It's terrible. It's like we never prepared. I don't even think he watched game film. I think he just go out there, rely on the talent, let them do what they do, and then try to adjust their halftime on the fly.
Fuller D need the honey pack, man.
Yeah, that's Fuller D need the honey pack. He need a honey pack, some 1942, some Viagra or something. That be limp. That nigga got a erectile dysfunction.
That bitch need a Bluetooth for sure.
He need a Bluetooth.
But something you said, 438, I'm gonna read these next two together because you mentioned something that we've been touching on. But Norvell states that there were times in the UNC game when he did not like the physicality FSU showed. He said that the coaches are in control of it. Atkins states there was a multitude of different things that caused this, all the sacks that happened in their game. Also, we have to make sure that I'm asking to do that. If they can't physically do that, it's my fault. I have to make sure I'm managing that a lot better. Two things, what you said, 438, and two things in those two quotes. Physicality. That's mentality. That's also the strength and conditioning program. But it starts with the mentality. You play like you practice. Now, we know we've seen segments in practice. Steve, you've been at a practice, so you can speak on this a little bit more. When you were at the practice of what you've seen, were them boys getting after it physically?
Not only were they not getting after it physically, the coaches weren't getting after the effort. I think coaches set the tone right away. That's what draws us to the game. A lot of us have played the game. A lot of us have been around the game. When you go to a practice, when you put those pads on, you coming out of that locker room, that smells like straight sweat and feet. And you put your foot on that grass or that turf, and you hear that coach getting in your ass right away, that sets the tone. If you don't have 10 coaches, 11 coaches, however many coaches that you're paying on the staff with that sort of energy, you're lacking. And when one position group gets away with it, it's infectious. The other position group gets away with it. The running backs ain't running hard. The linebackers ain't tackling hard. The defense ends ain't setting the edge. And next thing you know, oh no, well, we're reading the press clippings. We're reading the NFL draft projections. We're reading what Kuiper and McShay and all those guys are saying. And we're starting to see that. And we've been seeing that on Saturday. But outside of what you're reading here, none of this matters outside of the effort. The bigger issue is the players quit. Yeah. They quit. Whether they quit 3 games ago, 5 games ago, that's a topic that we can all discuss separately. They quit. So I don't care what defense Fuller runs at this point. As long as Fuller is the one running the defense, you're not going to see any sort of different results. This team is washed, cooked, baked, and that's a wrap.
Yeah, that's a wrap, man. What about you, 438?
Man, I just think goes back to the logo matter. They don't respect the logo. They don't respect the foundation that Mickey Andrews laid, the physicality that has always been known for at Florida State. The grit, the dirty. They don't embrace the fucking they don't embrace the culture that we
the tradition.
The tradition. They don't embrace the tradition of what is Florida State. They come in and trying to change it up to this G5 level. Pretty boy, look at the tackling drill. The tackling drills on that you see in practice comes back to effect on the game. They're not tackling, they're not physical, they can't stop nobody. Amari Hampton had 5 fucking touchdowns. That shit's pathetic.
Yeah, it's pathetic. Some things we could talk about with the logo. Let's how many times since Fuller's been to DC have we seen a spike baseball? Florida State fans who really understand what that means, they know what a spike baseball means. It's a fucking shutout. It's also the defense performance. They're not, like you said, Steve, they're not holding them accountable. There's no accountability to loafing. There's no account. These are the things that you mentioned for three that Mickey Andrews did. Even if you want to talk about when Stoops was the DC and Pruitt took over, the one thing that Florida State always brought to the fucking game, even when we had our quote unquote down years in the 2000s and the lost decade, we still brought defense. We don't bring that. And we brought an aggressive attacking style defense. I believe that a team or a program is always true to the tradition. For example, Alabama running the ball, Nebraska runs the ball. You understand when your traditional mindset that you've always been. There's certain changes here and there. There's some flair with the offense for the state's always been flashy. But the defense is always lunch pail, get after it, get to the quarterback. Through the sound of the whistle, game tackling, everybody flows. Somebody get knocked the fuck out in the game.
Nasty dogs on that defensive side of the ball, man.
You have not seen that. You saw some elements of it from individuals over the last 3 years. Between your Jermaine Johnsons, your Kier Thomases, your Jamie Robinsons, your Jared Versus, Braden Fisk. The list goes on and on. There's segments, but it's not being taught. And then notice that the names that I threw out there were mostly names that came from other programs. Jermaine Johnson was in the Georgia program under Kirby for 2 years. He came to Florida State already with that kind of mindset. Plus, his situation was he was not a highly recruited high school kid. He had to get it out the mud. Verse had to get it out the mud. Fisk came from a program that was not known in Western Michigan, so he had to get it out the mud. A lot of these players and key players, they got it out the mud because they weren't those kind of players coming out of high school. Some of them were mid-level, decent, 250, 300 type kids, but they were not your top 10 kids. We got kids on here now that they're not hungry. And they fall under the same umbrella. They're not hungry. They just think it's going to be given to them. And they look, like you said, it's press clippings. But I'm going to move on and I'm going to read this last quote and we can deep dive on this one. Norvell says, and I quote, "There's going to be a change in what we've seen from this year to next year coming up." This is from him as a message to fans after a 1-8 start. What change? I'm one of those people that look at it as this. The kind of program that Florida State is, it falls under the same thing as your Georgias, your Alabamas, your Ohio State. There should be a consistency. There shouldn't be you pleading in year 5 after 3 losing seasons in that year 5 about a change. You should have done that when you're up because winning programs continue to evolve, and this program didn't evolve. But what you guys got?
You want to go ahead, Steve?
You got it, Steve.
Yeah, I think to be honest, not only am I still shocked at the situation, I'm still shell shocked about what's going on. But the numbers and the stats are what they are. 3 losing seasons out of 5. It's unacceptable. And at this point, we can talk about it as much as possible. I would literally pay to be in the rooms of some of these boosters or these high caliber, high decision folks and see what they're saying. There's no way that this is just a conversation that's exclusive to us 3, us 4, right? It has to be, how do they feel about it? Their investment that they put into the program, the time, everybody investing in a different way. Some people's investment is just watching it on TV. Some people's investment is putting a lot of money into this stuff. And at this point, every clipping we're hearing is hyperbole. It's become a comical thing. Those Monday interviews, we take the clips that we read and we just laugh at them. A lot of them sound the same. They don't have any flavor to them. It's like a pilgrim cooking chicken, man. There's no
no seasoning.
So we don't believe anything he's saying right now. He's lost all sort of credibility. And that falls under Fuller and Atkins as well. Atkins had a little bit of grace from not being involved in those first 3-4 games. But considering, I'd argue we've looked even worse since he's been back. He doesn't get any grace either. So it's just sickening to read this stuff. I used to tune into those interviews. I no longer do that anymore. I just wait for it to come out and shake my head.
Yeah. What about you, 4-3?
It's like a broken record, man. He a shady car salesman. Same shit. The program, this is too big for him, man. It's a time for a change. He has this to be 3 losing seasons in his 5 years that he been here. He done lost to Duke. He done lost to Mac fucking Brown. He lost to fucking Memphis. You get what I'm saying? What more do you need to see? Like, hey, this guy not it. I don't trust him to fix it. Recruits don't trust him to fix it. Fans are starting not to trust him to fix it. So it's like, what is the incentive to keeping him here? Besides the $65 million buyout, which you're gonna lose way more in the fucking long run.
Yeah,
you're gonna lose way more in the fucking long run. You get what I'm saying? Like it's just shady car salesman shit, man. Like Willie got fired for fucking less. Don't forget Jacksonville State. Willie got fired for fucking less, man. But you got these white might saviors that's going to keep protecting him and propping him up. This shit is trash. There's no way you can protect and manage and give hope to this man. This shit was trash. We won fucking 8. Florida State. How do you not understand? Florida State University, 2013 national champions. 10 years later, we won in fucking 8.
1-8. And the last guy to even approach this kind of record was fired. And
we talk about give him time. That motherfucker had 5 fucking years. I'm gonna say this one more time, man. Great coaches make consistency the fucking normal. Mid coaches do it sometime.
Ooh, that's a bar. That's a bar right there, bro. That's a bar. Great coaches make consistency. Yes, consistency is the problem. But I'm gonna go ahead and hit this here because we're gonna be getting into that. That's one of the things we talk about. We just spoke on 3 losing seasons in 5 years. We've already spoke. Is it really acceptable just because of the previous 2? I would add this. Those previous 2 were exciting, but they were masked by the wins. If we really deep dive and go back and watch every game, we would see examples of what we see now, but it was covered up because we had individual talent in players like Burst Jermaine and those other players that I've already mentioned. It's a nasty situation because you don't see it. And I've said this before. If they quit, that's starting to see tangible evidence that you lost the locker room. If you lose your fucking locker room, there's only 2 things you can do: scrap the roster or scrap the coaches. Period. And I'm not just talking about position coaches, because they don't want to listen to your coach speak message, which was been put out on some of these other podcasts about they're tired of the coach speak too. So this isn't just Daily Chop. This is becoming something that everyone is seeing. That coach speak is what you was talking about, 438. These jits are not buying into that shit, bro. But I'm gonna let you guys cook, but I just want to mention these stats real quick, and then we're gonna cook on these. Amarian Hampton, one player that they knew the whole offensive game plan was focused around. They should have focused around that one player. He had 32 rushes for 172 yards, a 5.4 yard average, and 4 touchdowns, man. If anybody watched that game, North Carolina was running for 4, 5, 6, 10 yards a game in that game. He had 3 receptions for 93 yards with a 31 yard average, including that little what? Was it him with the little flip?
Yeah, the shovel.
To him, and it was like everybody just basically fell on the ground and didn't do shit. And a touchdown off of that. So it goes back, and you guys can cook after I say this, man. Consistency should be the benchmark we strive for at this university, because that's always been what we've been about, the fucking consistency. This is the same fan base where elements of the fan base wanted to go out when consistency started to look like shit. So why in the hell do y'all want to give this guy more mercy and grace than you gave Bobby? Get the fuck out of here. Go ahead, y'all.
Well, first and foremost, shout out to Amarian Hampton. This is a guy I believe is going to play on Sundays. There's a lot of times, I forgot the term that they use. Bud Elliott uses it. He's talked about it on his podcast a couple times, where certain players circle certain games, and they hit the da-da-da. Like they know, hey man, this is the game when I'm getting drafted. When they put my name up on that ticker, they're going to be showing highlights of this game. Amarian Hampton is going to be showing highlights when he gets drafted in April of this game against Florida State. And there's going to be other players before the season's over. There's already been players that have done that. The Trayshawn Wards of the world, the Cam Wards of the world. There's a lot of guys that have made money off of playing against Florida State this year. I believe he's playing on Sundays. However, that doesn't necessarily stop how we feel about it. Obviously, that kid knew he was going to have a big game. The 32 rushes tells me a lot. For a kid to run the ball 32 times in today's college football, with the speed of the game, the high pace of the game, the spread elements that everybody's using, that's a concerted effort to embarrass your opponent. That's a concerted effort. Whether Mac Brown really wanted to get it over the hump, or Mac Brown say, "Hey man, we're gonna put this on your back today." 300 yards all-purpose in a Division I Power 5 game is insane. You're hard pressed to get those numbers on Heisman mode and NCAA on 2025.
Exactly.
But like you said, the biggest way to demoralize your opponent is to run 5-6 yards down the field every time untouched before contact. And that's exactly what happened. So there's going to be a couple guys that got drafted off of this. The players clearly quit. If you don't trust your coaches, you don't trust the technique you're being taught, and no one's holding you accountable, there's no leadership in the locker room, this is what you see. This is much worse than we could have ever imagined. We would all love to pull the plug and end the season now, but luckily we're already in November, man. So this will be done in 3 to 4 weeks, y'all. Y'all just hold it down.
Yeah. Go ahead, folks.
Man, what can you say, man? Amari Hampton, Matt Brown, North Carolina, straight bitch us. They seen a bitch. You treat a bitch like a bitch, and they straight bitched us. They ran the ball down our throat. They out physicaled our soft ass defensive line. Our overpaid defensive tackles got pushed the fuck around. People like Quandarius Jones don't know proper tackling, so they missing open field tackles. The tackling drills. We're not a physical fucking team, man. We got a soft ass coach. We're a soft ass team, and that leads with your leader. Say, look at Georgia, Kirby a motherfucking dog, so his team is a dog.
Yeah,
that's just what it is. We soft as hell. It's the softest Florida State team I ever fucking seen, man. That shit is pathetic. You had he the only player on their team that's gonna do something as a defensive coordinator. That's the shit. The whole fucking game plan should have been to slow down Amari fucking Hampton. If the quarterback would have had to beat you so fucking well, but at least Amari Hampton didn't do it. And yet this motherfucker had 300 all-purpose yards and 5 touchdowns. That's fucking pathetic. Pathetic, like fucking pathetic. Anybody from this team need to be deleted. Like this, the roster don't need to exist in this team no more. This team don't exist. Yeah.
I'm gonna throw
this fucking pathetic, man.
This message up in the comments from Bobby. He says, "Yeah," and then let him know we did cover some things on strength and conditioning. We don't want to beat a dead horse, but he said there is an issue, Bobby. There is an issue there. What we saw on Saturday wasn't just strength and conditioning, though. That's something that's been consistent throughout the season. It's been mentality. The players individual. I'm not going to take nothing away from the players either. We're going to hold these coaches' feet to the fire and these soft-ass players who continue to play soft and have tapped out. I'll say it there. I said before, fuck you.
6'3", 15 out that bitch getting bullied.
Yeah,
you out that bitch getting bullied, man.
You're not hurting anyone but yourself. And you think the NFL looking at that shit, you got to understand how they dig into your life when that combine time come around. They're going to look at that film and they're going to ask you that question. Why the fuck you loaf on this play?
I got a question.
It's going to come back. But go ahead.
I got a question for y'all. I know we have some more good topics coming up here shortly, as well as what we're doing on Thursday. But my question to y'all is, we talk a lot about how many coaches are going to be on this roster, how many are going to stay on this roster, whatever you want to call it. You want to talk about destroy and rebuild, and you guys are both saying, from what I'm hearing, you got to scrap a lot of these soft-ass players just based on what you put on film this year. How many players, how many scholarships are available in December? We're talking about 3 to 5 to 6
56
assistant coaches. How many? And maybe that's a question for you. Maybe that's something we could set up for Thursday. How many scholarships, if you go down the roster and guys you think are going to leave or guys you want to leave, how many scholarships do you guys think are going to be available? Come December?
56.
It's good. Let's put it this way. I believe, and it's already been mentioned by other publications, it's going to be a mass exodus. Yeah.
There's only 10 players that's worth keeping.
Yeah. And most of them are freshmen because they
are freshmen.
Yeah. They have a reason, an excuse, and there's still time to develop them. They got to be freshmen, redshirt freshmen, the young guys. The young guys that choose to stay, that's what you keep. I'm trying to find what they had put in here. But yeah, somebody said, yeah, here it is. Bobby said, Mike needs to come pick up your kids moment like Mario had. Yeah, it's time, Bobby. I mean, it is. It's time to pick up your kid's shit. Somebody need to say, Mike, you need to pick yourself up.
Pick
Go look in
yourself
the mirror.
up.
Look in the mirror. Tell yourself, I fucked up, and get this shit right.
I know our boy, shout out to Keith. Our boy is the glass half full. He's always the eternal optimist, right? Even when we're all crashing out, he's the eternal optimist. But I do believe there's an opportunity, what 438 is saying isn't that far-fetched, 50, 60 players, whatever the case may be, between the stadium renovations, between the new football-only facility, between definitely having a new position coach, between the fan base, the location, the no-state tax when it comes to NIL, you have a chance to turn it around. One win, I mean, I can walk and put my cleats on, and I have a better season. That's how some of these players think. Have a better season than them bums did in 2024. All I got to do is be a decent player, and they're going to love me, and they're going to appreciate me because they're desperate to get back to what 2023 and 2022 was. This year is so bad, it's not going to take a lot for a player to say, you know what? I'm going to go over there, man. I'm going to go over there.
Boss man said I wanted to slap Mike on that podium yesterday so bad.
You ain't lying.
You ain't lying, man. Man, it's a damn mess, man. But as we segue, we are going to bring up this topic, and I just threw this in. We don't have to deep dive too much, but it's talking about one of the biggest impactful people and influential people in college football. But just as it pertains to Florida State, man, we've been fucked 3 times. If you want to say 3.5 times by this man and him getting his clients' money. From Jimbo and all the shit we went through with the LSU, and then finally going on to Texas A&M, to hiring Willie and that shit going, speeding, ushering Willie in there real fast and not really doing any kind of deep search for a coach, getting him in, and then ending up that situation to Mike getting it where it is, and then the whole Alabama bullshit to where we turn around and fucking cut our nuts again. This is where we talk about the administration. The administration keeps clipping its own balls for the sake of this man and what he does with his clients. He's a glizzy globbling fat fuck. And I don't know him personally. I have a disdain for what he's done to this program. Him getting his clients money, I ain't mad at that. Do your job. That's your job. I ain't mad at getting the money on. But as far as what he's done, he has been a thorn in our ass over the last 10 years. But y'all go ahead and chop it up on him, man. Either you 438 if you want to go.
All right, man. Shit, Jimmy Sexton been fucking Florida State. He been fucking us better for 3 straight years, my man, for 3 straight terms, man. He getting paid. He getting on. He good at his job, though. You can't knock him. If we the dumbasses keep falling for, fool me once, they know how it go, but fool me twice, that's a mess. This motherfucker done got you 3 times. You know damn well Mike wasn't no Alabama, they don't want no motherfucking Mike. We know that. Everybody knew that he put it out there, got Mike paid, and now we stuck with fucking Mike Taggart.
That's what's up. What about you, Steve?
Before I even jump into Jimmy, man, shout out to Sporadics. He says scholarships available after this season are 37.
37. Thanks, Chris.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Jimmy Sexton's a capitalist. We live in America. I'm not mad at somebody going to get their funya and their money, right? That's what I want to do every day. I'm trying to go ahead and get the bag just like anybody else is. Jimmy's job is not the success of that coach. Jimmy's job is just to negotiate deals, and he's the best in the game. Now, this is a great picture of him. He does look like a snarky little. But it is what it is, man. The next coach, if Mike goes out, the next coach you hire will probably be somebody negotiated by Jimmy Sexton, unless you get a certain guy in Boulder, Colorado. But outside of that, I mean, this is what Jimmy does, man. I can't be mad at him, man. It's us. It's the same regime. It's the same administrators. It's the same people that make the decisions that are hiring him. Like 438 said. So it's on us.
Yeah, that's true. It's on us. Ultimately, it's on the administration, and that's something.
It's on the administration.
That's a topic that we're touching on that I'm not seeing a lot of people touching on. Yeah, they're going after Mike. Some protecting Mike. A lot of people going after Atkins. A lot of people going. We know we've been ready to throw Randy ass out the window.
You can't believe in Mike. Man, put that comment up.
Yeah, put that comment up.
I am, man. I believe in Mike. We not switching up because we lose.
Yeah, I believe in
Man, you believe that
Yeah.
Jordan Travis made Mike look good. Mike need to get fired. He owed Jordan Travis half that buyout, man.
Yeah.
Demetrius, I can assure you, bro. 438 has been saying this for the long time. Deshawn came on a little later. Anybody on the podcast, I'm the last one that came to Jesus. I can assure you. I was on the boat with my buddy Keith the longest, man. I cannot deny the proof of what I'm seeing. Your eyes are not lying to you, bro.
Yep.
Keith's
Because
getting
you've
along,
seen coaches, you've seen multiple.
He say, I've been saying it's the administration for years. Yeah, it's the administration. You got these old pilgrims stuck in their ways, and they going to what they know, which is Jimmy Sexton. They slow the old pilgrims that run the program is slowing down the program.
Yeah.
But they the ones with the money. So
yeah, but they're not. They ain't no election. This ain't no Kamala Harris, Donald Trump with these guys, man. Them guys stay in these positions for a long time in the shadows. Nobody is paying attention. Who are the ones to get these guys up out of here and in charge of putting some new blood in there? Who are those people? The blood's on their hands. Because if you let these same guys make the same wrong decisions time and time again, then we're gonna have the same conversation in 5 to 7 years.
Exactly. And all they're doing is grooming another group and another generation to do the same shit. This shit happened with Bobby, with trying to get IPFs, with Bobby trying to get shit that well before it was documented. He was trying to get the IPF. He was trying to get the facilities and those things. And they were content because they felt status quo. We winning, why change? Then you go into Jimbo. We all know the well-documented situation Jimbo had with members of the administration, the boosters, all of that shit. All of
the
that
chance say Mike got 2 years. Yeah, all right. Yeah, all right.
All right.
2 years. You know yeah, all right.
That's a good question, and I'm gonna bring that up, but I'm gonna touch on this. From Jimbo, we all know Willie. Willie was Willie. Willie had his issues, but we're gonna be honest. The administration clipped Willie's nuts on some shit too. And then we can say, we can ask the question, are they clipping Mike's nuts on some shit? Because rumors going around, they clipping him on some shit with these coaches. But we'll say that for Thursday. You know,
we'll say that for
Thursday.
We'll say it for Thursday.
No, I'll keep it hit, man.
But to the Chad, you said Mike got 2 years.
Hold up. Post
yeah, all right. Yeah, all right. Please. Yeah, all right. Let Mike go out there and take his ass and get blown out by Alabama. Yeah, all right.
There we go. Randy.
My best friend Randy came through with it.
What's that chance?
Tokar's gone. Odell's getting help and replacing 22 analysts. So Tokars is gone. That tells you right there that there will be a new quarterback coach. So that opens the door for that OC as a possibility of an OC. Because if you get an OC, typically your OC is the quarterback's coach, unless he may sometimes be a wide receiver. It's a possibility.
Surtain's not on that list?
No, because remember, if Surtain leaves, it's gonna be because Surtain leaves. Ain't gonna be pushed out.
Yeah, but from what I heard, if as long as Brian Lewis is still in the fold, Surtain, that means you got Surtain.
What about Atkins?
Atkins,
he's one of your best recruiters. You can't let him go. Alex Atkins is one of the only few people on your team that can relate to the kids. I keep telling you, none of these kids. Why you think Javion is in South Carolina with Fran Brown? None of these kids don't relate to Mike, but Alex Atkins they can relate to. So you gonna get rid of the only relatable person you got?
Better question, 438. This is the question. If Atkins stays, but my thing is, you know a name we ain't seen on there? What's the name we ain't seen on there? I'll bring it back.
Storms. I don't think I seen that Storms.
Honey Pack.
Exactly.
Honey Pack.
I ain't see Josh Storms.
That's basically you crashing into a wall because you're asking yourself, is it technique on the offensive line is the reason? Is it strength and conditioning?
And with your own eyes, they tell you it's strength and conditioning. We are not, even on the defensive line to show you, we are not physically strong at all.
Sporadics unloading that clip. Sporadics unloading that clip today. I like to see it. I like to see the information. Okay, well, there we have it.
Yes. We know, we all know this. This is documented. If Atkins stays, that's because to hold the class together, which is where 438 is already.
Get rid of him in February then?
Who knows? But then I don't know because with the way the portal goes, these kids can hit that portal right after we get past this December. You got 2 windows.
Yeah, and if your position coach resigns, you can go to another school. If the coach that recruited you resign, you can go. Even after you sign.
So 2 names, Storms and Fuller's name were not on that list from
Sporadics and Storm's name on that list, man. That's all I need to know.
Because
yes,
I don't have no confidence in that situation, because there's a lot of questions and stuff being said behind the scenes about the injuries and certain things going on.
A lot of former players are blaming their injuries on strength and conditioning.
You heard it from the man 438. There we go. Storms will fire 5 to 8 strength coaches and hire 9 new. Hey, I can't be
All
mad
right.
at it.
I can't be mad at it.
I won't be mad at it.
Fire. But shout out to my boy Steve, man.
Shout out to Steve. Shout out to you, Steve. That's the bottom line, but at least something is being done.
Yeah.
At least it's being addressed. It's a start. But when it's the head man, you got to ask the question. Because if we still going to run the same shit, then what's the difference? Are you going to change the way you conditioning? Are we changing the nutrition table? Because it's time. We said Bama table for a long time. God damn it, we all live in the South. Let's get buckets of goddamn deer antler spray up there now. Let's get it done. You know, the creatine, whatever we need to do as a fan base, donate, whatever you need to do, get these kids to the table. God damn it, I'll bring jars of peanut butter, whatever we need.
I'm telling you.
To the right place, man.
It's soul food every Sunday. Goddamn, not catering to your shit.
So let's go. If that's the case, that's what needs to be done, and that's what needs to be done. But at least it's something. Big chops in the chat, where our boy Keith said. Big chops in the chat for change. That's all we asking for. Change.
Shout out to Tiny Hat. Shout out to Brian. Shout out to
Tiny Hat.
Boss Man. T. Murray.
All of you.
Dad, Navy. Montre. Shout out to y'all boys, man.
Now, as we transition, we talked about the coaches. We touched on this subject a little bit, but what is their end game? We talked about the clicks. We talked about the generating the clicks. You know, it's a slow, when we're losing, it's slow. But it seems like, because they were some of the biggest pumpers. Now, I give them the benefit of doubt in they can only say what they've been told. And a lot of media is only going to regurgitate exactly what the coaching staff told them to say. You know, but it seems like this media, especially on Twitter timeline, they go in on the little petty shit. And they create these little buzz articles that they know are going to, one, piss the fan base off, get the fan base riled up, get us talking, and then embarrass the program. Fuck embarrassing the coaches. You embarrass the program because you don't spew a narrative that protects. It's been said, I think 3-6 said this. Find me another fucking media that does the shit that Florida State media does and their beat does to the program. They hold accountable maybe behind the scenes, but they spew exactly, and they spew a message that will not hurt the program. But you guys, what do y'all think is the reason that they continually hurt the program? The war chants, the 247. I heard the Locked On guy talking about goddamn Rhett Lashley coaching as a good coaching candidate. This is where we're at.
For clicks, Deshawn, shit, man. Like, you got Clay Fink. Like, I'm gonna keep this shit a buck. You get what I'm saying? Like, hey, you know, he out there bashing Hakeem Williams. You don't think this kid, you know, we may do it in the spaces, but you doing it publicly on the timeline. You don't think this kid going through enough already? He 1-8. We 1-8. He coming off an injury, and you perfectly bashing a man for what? Clicks. And you supposed to be a reporter. Where's your professionalism? You get what I'm saying? That shit's fucking pathetic. And if Hakeem Williams was to see you out and he slapped the hell out you or something like that, then it's gonna be, oh, you want to press assault charge. Now I take this shit back to the other fucking beat writers that just tear down like 24/247. This shit, what do you get out of embarrassing your own fucking program for a little couple for the trolls to like and click on your page? That shit's pathetic. So I mean, you're gonna slot your own program for clicks. You're gonna sell your soul. Like, come on, man. The media have to stand for something to fall for anything, and our media ain't nothing but a fucking circus with clowns in it, man. Yeah. Shit's fucking pathetic. They give away recruits too early. They want to be the first to blow information out so quick. They ruin fucking recruiting visits. They ask recruits the same fucking shit. Go back and watch the kid from Florida. The dumbass questions fucking Michael Langston is asking this kid. Yeah. Like, what the fuck? Like, this shit is fucking pathetic, man.
Yeah. They cost us Zion Young, who's at Missouri now, because of that, because they had to open their mouth. I'll put it out there. We don't have no corporate and we don't have the coaches to nothing to protect.
Man, be honest, they threw Alex Atkins under the fucking bus with that Mims situation. That wasn't nobody fucking business. Y'all threw Atkins under the bus.
Yep, they exposed that shit with a big fucking mouth just to get clicks, get likes, and get attention, so they can get their little $500 goddamn super chats and all of that shit from the people who they continually fool with bullshit. But if Steve, you got something, man, chop it up. Exactly. 247. Fuck War Chant.
No, I've been very vocal about how I feel about those guys. In response to Clay, man, it's a difficult situation when Clay didn't grow up a Florida State fan, bro. He's from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Clay's also 19 years old. I did a lot of stupid things as a 19-year-old as well. The issue is the fan base, and you gotta love them. We're probably the most polarizing fan base, college football fan base on Twitter. I'd argue, I'd put up no nation above anybody else or with anybody else. They built this kid to get the platform that he had, to get the voice that he had. Now this kid has to generate clicks himself. He's feeling the pressure. He's got to generate clicks and get engagement, keep his numbers up. He wants to be monetized and things like that. So he'll throw us under the bus over everything. We talk about logo matters. Logo don't matter to fucking Clay. Clicks matter to Clay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When it comes to Michael Langston, when it comes to Irish Affair, all them guys, man, them guys shop at J.C. Penney, man. Ain't got no drip, no aura, no nothing. They come up to these kids and ask these basic cookie cutter ass questions, and these kids give them the basic cookie cutter ass answers. And let's be honest, the 55 plus pilgrim community, they're the ones that are clicking and paying that money, man.
Exactly.
Anybody who knows anything, the real spill, they're not going to pay a subscription for the same crappy answers year in and year out. You can literally scratch the name of the player and put it up against any interview that they've had in the last 15 years, and you're going to get the same exact response, man. At the end of the day, the reason that their message is turning, and we talked about this in the spaces, is because the program's not doing well and they have to generate clicks. At this point, they don't necessarily care about burning their sources. Maybe they look at their sources. Some of these assistant coaches that we know are going to get fired, those are clearly their sources. But they don't care about burning their sources because they know they're going to be gone in 3 weeks. So now they can really speak about how they and not push the narratives that were pushed all throughout the offseason, all throughout training camp about how this is the fastest team ever. This is one of the most physical teams Mike Norvell's ever had, et cetera, et cetera. All that was bull jive. A lot of these guys saw with their eyes, but they didn't have the journalistic integrity to report it the right way because they didn't want to burn their sources. Now their sources are about to get on that Amistad ship across the Atlantic Ocean, and they don't care. They're going to sell them out just like they're going to sell anybody else out. That's what it comes down to. These recruits, they're not reading War Chant 24/7. They're not reading all this stuff, but they see the clips. These hot clips come up on Twitter. Damn, that's how you bashing your players? You were just celebrating clips when Hakeem was on stage with Snoop and Peter Warner committed. And now you bash him every 5 seconds. Okay, that's what we're doing. Okay, all right. Well, I might as well go to a school that's not going to do that. Yeah, they might talk trash about me on the spaces, but I don't have to see something get reposted over and over and over and over and over again. The FSU media is enemy number one of the state. And these are the idiots that continue to get the same credentials to be in the same rooms rather than putting the real ones out there. Let's just be honest. Yeah. Last point that I'm going to go ahead and make on this subject, because as you can see, I already know is bullcrap, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. This is one of the things I respected about Jimbo the most.
Shut him out.
The dickhead narrative about Jimbo Jimbo shut all that shit down. Practice accessibility, shut that shit down. Oh, you a freshman talking to the media. Media accessibility is when I want you to go ahead and talk to the media.
Exactly. You say what I want you to say.
And that's something that I wish Mike had, but Mike's too nice of a guy. He wants to be liked and appreciated with them church hymn speeches every freaking week. Every Monday we listen to the same speeches, and that's the reason why these guys have too much access. If you cut off the access and you focus on ball, what does this look like? That's what I want to know.
I got one thing to say on what, and just follow up what you said, and I'm gonna put it out there. Hey, Mike, somebody get this message to Coach Norvell. Mike, if you watching, shut the shit down. Shut the studio down. Take self-evaluation. Say fuck it all. And get it done, get it cleaned up, man. Fuck this shit with this beat. The people who gonna give you the real gonna give you the real. We ain't telling you because we want you to fail. We just because you failed. We're gonna hold anybody to the standard. It doesn't matter. It ain't personal. It's business, and the logo fucking matters. I'm gonna say
the logo matters more than anything, man.
The logo matters. So it's either shit or get off the pot with us.
Did you post what Stratus just put up there, Deshawn?
Yes, I did. I'll repost that shit.
That's crazy. Right,
They do make
So
more
the
money.
issue is
let me call this
media
out,
makes
man.
more money when FSU is
Zach
bad and they see them.
Blowstein.
Yes,
Man, we don't want to hear nothing from this man no more, bro.
I don't.
We don't want to hear nothing. There's no art to what he's doing, bro. These kids ain't giving you the real spill, man. They don't fuck with you, man. They really don't. Anybody who's in the know, they know they don't rock with people like you, bro. And the sooner we can get rid of folks like that, the better off we'll be, bro. I'd rather be 1-8 and not have my own people bash me for $1 rather than be 9-0 and be with some bullshit with guys like this that are still in the beat. That's just my opinion.
They're just reporters. They don't really have.
They just reporters. They don't know we the people that the kids come really actually talk to.
Yeah.
So we can give you the more of an insight than some bland stuff that they're gonna take a little piece of what the kids say and spin in and add their own little extra twitch to it, and now they got you interested for your clique. You come right here, get the raw and uncut truth.
He said Zach called me to get a hold of recruits. Didn't give him shit. It's believable.
Exactly. They don't have that pull like they think they do. They just have the credentials.
Because think about it. In some of these places they got to go, you know they ain't going. They ain't. And you're going to have to go somewhere that ain't the 707 field tournament or high school football.
Man, Zach can't go to South Florida, man. Zach can't go to Central Florida.
He ain't going there. He's not going there. He's not. He's not going there. And that's the thing.
Yeah, he's not going to the trenches to talk to these kids and none of that. They wouldn't even talk to nobody like him anyways, like personally like that.
And that's the thing about it. There has to be an all-in going into, before we transition, there has to be an all-in, like I said before, from the fan base, the administration, the players, the coaches, the boosters, the alumni, but we got to have an all-in mentality. But that means we're saying the same thing. We're not fucking the logo. We're not. And that's the problem. We're fucking the logo. It's a collection of us that are doing that. And it's a collection of us that are believing.
Pushing on the logo.
Exactly. I don't understand how anybody follows them and gives them any credible source or any credibility.
You're pissing on the fucking logo, man.
They're pissing on the logo. You might as well be a Miami fan then. Or you might as well be a Florida fan. You understand that's the odds. That's a rival. They're going to piss on
you might as well be a Kentucky fan.
Yeah.
But you might as well be a Kentucky fan, but report for FSU football.
But in defense, I'm touching on it. I'm from Kentucky, so I ain't giving him no goddamn slack. I'm from Kentucky, but I live and die with this shit as far as my fandom goes. I love Florida State football. I love Florida State athletics. I love the sports. I love the university. I want to see success. But we know this shit, it starts with the football program. So if we're looking like shit at football, everything from every other sport all the way to the economy in Tallahassee and the surrounding areas are affected. This is what we're talking about. This is why the logo matters. Because people feed their families when Florida State football is winning. Only these assholes feed their family when they losing because they make up shit for clicks. That's why they doing it, because they got to feed their family. So they'll tell lies to do so. But we can move on. I see Kristen put something else up here. I would say UF and Ohio State media does almost as bad as FSU media. Yeah, I would say I got some Ohio State family, but
Ohio State media don't bash.
And if I'm an Ohio State fan and we're winning every game and just losing to Michigan at the end of the year,
they're going. Yeah, they're going on that.
That's still not as bad as this, but no, I respect that, Chris.
Yeah, I can respect that too. All right, so we're gonna transition. You guys are gonna lead the way on this one. We're gonna bring it up. Recently, there was a situation that happened in Miami with the Miami Central High School Rockets, and they are the second of two teams that have been found to have an ineligible player, and they were 8-1, I believe, and they are now 0-9, and had to forfeit those games that they won. I'm not going to read that. I'm pretty sure our viewers can't see it. I work on making sure it's more legible for our viewers to see and blow it up some more. But it's basically one of the top high school programs in the state, in the nation, had to forfeit its 8 wins, which makes it now 0-9. Because of an ineligible player. But you guys know a little bit more about it. 438, you can lead on it. Steve, you can go ahead and follow up either way, and y'all can just let everybody know what's going on.
Yeah, man, Coach, go ahead. This might be his last year. you know, Central might miss the playoffs. They more than likely gonna miss the playoffs this year. But if you know Central history, they always been known to kind of pull this stunt. From what I heard, the kid was 19 and a half, gonna be 20. But then it goes back to her, you know, revert back to a certain school, you know, American Heritage. Just you can't handle having a bad year, and they just telling on everybody. It's, you know, basically from what I've heard, you know, they told on Norland, and now they told on Central, you know. But the shit is kind of crazy, you know, like shit, you know, though you forfeit your whole season, so you kind of fuck the other kids for this one player wasn't, and then from what I'm hearing, the one player wasn't such a difference maker anyway, so why continue on with it? It's just a crazy ass situation, man. But it's typical for Central, though. It's a typical situation for Central.
Yeah, this the situation a little bit more personal for me. My nephew was on that Central team. He transferred early in the season. He's a quarterback. He's a sophomore, 2027 kid. Shout out to my nephew Jaden. But it's a little bit complicated. I don't believe it was just Heritage. I knew this information 3 days ago. I just wasn't allowed to say anything because his teammates told him what was going on and what was coming down the pipe. From what I was told, it was not American Heritage. It was Miami Northwestern. Shout out to the Bulls.
Okay.
Reason is because that kid transferred from Northwestern. So the kid is 19 and a half. He's about to turn 20. He was at one of these alternative schools called the Tunman School or Tourman School, something along those lines. I don't remember the name of it. One of those alternative schools that generally, I guess, helped him reclass, but that necessarily wasn't the case. So essentially, he transferred over from Miami Northwestern. Miami Northwestern obviously is Miami Central's #1 rival. That is one of the biggest rivalries in the country, as long as I'm concerned. Miami Central did win against the West in a this year, and Northwestern
24-21
just held it in their pocket. And my brother told me last night, when you have that bazooka, you don't shoot it out. You wait till that target is front and center, and you let that chopper sing. It's like to say. So fortunately, man, them boys, the Rock Block boys, the 95th Street boys. Shout out to
95th Street
championships. They were most definitely going to walk into a 10th one this year, and that's a wrap. They're not. I don't believe at this moment they're going to appeal this. At the moment, I'm not hearing.
Yeah, no.
They're going to take this across the chin. There's been a
lot
of
there's
been a lot of trying to protect this kid's identity. I believe it was number 9. I can say it. I ain't got no damn about it.
I ain't want to say it.
You tricked off a player. You tricked off a season, and he's not even like that. The kid is not even like that. Now, Miami Central did have deficiency or weakness in the DB position going into this season. That's what some of the things that they were mastering by the DBs they had last year, including one of our guys, Weezy, LaWayne McCoy, also helped play DB as well. They lost that, and they were not able to that during the offseason. Coach Jube was too busy making videos about himself and how great he is. Coach Schuler, Tommy Schuler, was also too busy making videos about himself in the offseason, and they should have been able to recruit and get the right players in this position. Schuler is involved with Miami Raw. You see the top DBs in the country every week in 7-on-7. Why were you guys bring these guys to 95th Street? What was the issue? We also talk about their 3-4-star quarterback, Beckham Krishna, Penn State commit, who transferred in the middle of the season. He left Central and went to Chaminade Madonna. I found out. Did Beckham have some information prior to knowing this? We don't know. But this came down the pike hard. The FHSAA clearly for the last week between Western High School, American Heritage, Miami Norland, Miami Central Academy.
There's one more school on there, but we'll talk about them on Thursday.
We're going to talk about them on Thursday. But tremendous blow. 3A is wide open now.
Reigns, shout out to Jacksonville Reigns to win the state, man.
Reigns is in it. Wilson's in it. It makes it interesting now, but just a sad situation, man. If I'm a parent of a senior, my kid's not going to school the rest of the year. Classes will wrap it up, especially if he's committed. If I'm Ezekiel Marcelin or anything like that, I ain't coming back. I'm already making phone calls. This is embarrassing.
And Jube out of there. That's embarrassing. Yeah, Jube gone.
Jube, and there's no other change because Jube was already ruffled with the wrong feathers. There's been a long list of things that have in Miami Central since the summer. That whole fight between them and Miami Northwestern, that 7-on-7 tournament, when players are beating up players' moms.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable. You can't have that. Ezekiel Marcelin got his mom thrashed. That is because they started a fight and this, that, and Jube is heard saying, beat their ass.
Yeah.
So what more do you have to prove now? You didn't win the state championship last year. You had all the talent in the world. You didn't recruit the DBs you were supposed to. You got into a humongous fight and you had to make a kumbaya peace video with Northwestern saying, "Oh, we don't want to fight no more. Hey, you get out." At the end
I know.
Done.
I know Demetrius. Yeah, I know Demetrius.
You have to find somebody else. Jube only got that job because their previous coach took a job at University of Miami. That's understandable. Jube is a kind of guy, and that's a Zoe, man. I'm a Haitian too. But at the end of the day,
yes, he one of them Zoes that you just can't
do business the right way.
You got to just you got to chill on Jube.
High school position like that ever again. It was central or bust because that guy can't go to he's not a college coach. He might as well go to Palmetto, or he might as well go to some other Miami high school because he's done it. He's done at Miami Central.
Wow. Well, that concludes our show. We like to thank everybody for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. This is the Daily Chop. Please share it on Twitter. Please go to YouTube and hit like, share, subscribe also. Make sure you
please watch on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe.
Follow us on Instagram at the Daily Chop.
Follow us on Instagram.
Yes, sir.
Also, we're doing once we hit 250 subscribers, I will be doing a personal $150 giveaway, $50 to each three subscribers once we get to 250 subscribers. So make sure y'all get this out there, like, comment, share, and subscribe, man.
Let's chop it up.
Really chop it up with us.
Let's chop it up.
Everybody, let's chop it up, and we out.
We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive.